Thank you for joining us here today for the latest news where you live. I'm Joe Ellison. It's easy to see how technology can help increase efficiency and save money. A new bill introduced by Arkansas Senator John Boozman aims to bring infrastructure and technology all together. 5 News reporter Ian Taylor shows us how drones could help improve bridge inspections.
Think about how often you drive in your car and pass over a bridge. Now ask yourself, what could happen if an inspection missed something? The result of that on full display last May, when a fracture developed on the bridge connecting Arkansas to Tennessee. The Arkansas Department of Transportation was using drones before the fracture, but officials say it highlighted a need for change.
Following the I-40 bridge incident, we did step up our drone inspection program quite a bit. We saw the value of it. We saw it was a smart investment at a relatively low cost, and it has helped us tremendously.
RDOT now has 18 drones in its bridge inspection program, a program that caught the attention of lawmakers looking for technology to help make improvements. Arkansas Senator John Boozman helped introduce the Drone Infrastructure Inspection Grant Act, saying technology will strengthen the nation's bridges and railways, and this legislation will help develop the workforce needed to operate the technology. If passed, it would give $100 million in grants for drones and another $100 million for training. In Arkansas, RDOT officials believe this is a step towards a safer future of inspections. Drones are not expected to replace jobs, but instead, the once futuristic gizmos are becoming items of necessity.
We still have to be able to inspect those bridges in the very best way, with our eyes, with our touching, with our experience, everything we know. But to have that drone with us in that tool belt is really the best thing of all.
Covering news where you live, Ian Taylor, 5 News.
All right, thanks so much, Ian. Now, before we get to other news, let's get a check of the weather with meteorologist Zach Scott. Zach, we got a Razorback game this weekend. We're hoping for some good weather.
Yeah, we've had great weather the last, the first couple of games of the season. Now we're getting into week 3, Joe. It's looking good. Of course, it's been a little on the warmer side. There's been a lot of sunshine. This is going to be our first night game. I'll show you that forecast in just a second. Temperatures today, nice. I haven't moved a whole lot the last few days. Northwest Arkansas has been hitting those mid-80s. River Valley's been hitting those upper 80s and lower 90s. That's where we are today. A lot of sunshine for your Friday as we put a bow on the work week. Head into the weekend, temperatures really do start to climb. We are getting a hotter pattern that will be taking over for us starting this weekend. Really builds and sets in for the first few days or the first half of next week, and that is going to promote some unseasonably record kind of warmth building in for a few days. We start to see that as we get into Saturday, upper 80s for Northwest Arkansas. We've had those lower 90s. Now we're getting lower to some mid 90s trying to mix in. Saturday will be even hotter Sunday. But again, talking about Saturday, Arkansas football again at Razorback Stadium, taking Missouri State under the lights. 6 o'clock kick. We hit those upper 80s. We head into the evening. We start cooling through the 80s. Humidity isn't too bad. Clear skies, little light breeze, and no rainfall expected. Again, that wind about 5 to 10 miles per hour. That setup again Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's kind of like a summer setup here. This bubble, this heat bubble, heat dome, if you will. It's building right over Oklahoma, North Texas into parts of western Arkansas, promoting a lot of sunshine. Unfortunately, more continued dry weather. We've been really drying out the last couple of weeks. That's going to continue next week. And again, you dry out, we start to heat up easily, looking at widespread mid-90s to some upper 90s as we get into the later part of next week with some record heat. One more Friday night light game for you. Again, there's a lot of great action, Joe, across the area from Northwest Arkansas to the River Valley. Here's a couple games we're really highlighting for you. No reason to get out and to not get out and enjoy the beautiful weather this evening.
You bet it's going to be a great football Friday night. All right, thanks so much, Zach. Well, Governor Asa Hutchinson is warning the Biden administration against adding transgender protections to Title IX. The governor's message, it won't be legal. Governor Hutchinson and Attorney General Leslie Rutledge spoke yesterday discussing a law signed last year in Arkansas that bans transgender athletes from participating in girls' athletics. In June, the Biden administration announced regulations for Title IX, including guidelines that will strengthen protections for the LGBTQ plus community and students who face discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. The proposed rules would add gender identity to protections for college and local school programs. Now, Rutledge believes it's a violation of the Administration Procedures Act, though the director of programs for Northwest Arkansas Equality says she disagrees.
Feeling of having your existence be a topic of political discussion is uncomfortable for everybody on that spectrum. It's been very challenging, I think, for parents of trans kids, for trans kids themselves.
The governor and attorney general are doing two things. They have officially objected to the federal education department. They say if the agency goes through with the new rules, the state will likely join a lawsuit to keep the rules from being enforced. And the Springdale School District is one step closer to having added security on elementary campuses. In its interim report, the Arkansas School Safety Commission recommends adding school resource officers and commissioned school security officers in public schools. The Springdale School Board approved a commissioned school security officer program in early August. Well, this week it moved one step closer to adding security.
For the September board meeting, we approved their salary structure so we can begin implementing our CSSOs onto our campuses. So they will be clearly marked so you can tell that they are some form of security, and their purpose on campus will be to enforce security and to be a visual presence and to be a visual deterrent.
The safety officers will be armed and must go through at least 60 hours of training and pass an exam. Springdale hopes to add around 18 of the security officers to help cover elementary campuses. Meanwhile, school resource officers from the police department will cover the middle, junior high, and high schools. Now, the Springdale School Board unanimously approving incentives to recruit and retain qualified and experienced bus drivers. Each regular route driver will receive 3 payments in the amount of $800 on each paycheck. Non-route drivers will also receive 3 payments, but in the amount of $500 each. Plus, the board approved the salary schedule increase that pays an extra $20 daily as an attendance incentive. Well, the city of Fort Smith is running out of time. The city won't be granted an extension to finish the EPA's requested water and sewage improvements. The initial decree here was issued after the city violated the Federal Clean Water Act. The original estimate of those repairs was around $480 million. That has now been increased to $650 million. The city had hoped for more time to get the projects complete. City Administrator Carl Gefkin said even with the decision, water and sewer rates will not increase based on a ballot measure voters approved in May.
A, to freeze sewer rates at existing levels for 3 years. For 3 years commencing June 1st, 2022, which would go through then 2025, and B, to freeze annual sewer rate increases at 3.5% per year for residential customers for years 4 through 8, so 2025 to 2029.
Now, Gefkin claims the appeal was just one part of the city's efforts to try to relieve the costs that comes with this consent decree. Well, thank you for joining us here today for 5 News. I'm Joe Ellison. Catch up with us again each day for more news and weather. Have a great weekend.